Oh my god, it's a 4-2-5 defense. All you gotta do is blitz more. All they gotta do is fire Eric Glenn, and then they can start winning again. They're so stupid.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifati Malafanu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
Yo, good afternoon. It's day 2. Let's go. Show me that you hear from the comments. Come on. Bring it. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen, to Football Talk with Russell Wayne. That is me. Let me see if I can get you in there. Yes, Football Talk with Russell Wayne. We are in draft. It is draft time right here. We are broadcasting live right now into the Detroit Lions News Podcast. Thank you to Joe Chapp and the boys. If you want to, you can come in here. I would love to hear from Joe Chapp. I got to make sure I send him a link. I sent one out to Greg Rice. I want to know what you guys think of this draft. We're broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad. Thank you to everybody that is following, sharing, and liking this content, because if you're doing that, then you're obviously a football fan. You're obviously a football fan just like me and just like everybody else that watches this program, right? And if you're a Detroit Lions fan, what did you think of this pick? We're doing a 3rd annual draft special tonight, but I mean, we have some time right here. Football Talk with Russell Wayne right here. We can reflect on some of these picks. I would like to know what you think of these picks. You know, them moving up. The Lions moving up a couple spots right there, giving up a third-round pick in this year's draft. We only got one pick tonight, but they were able to get Terrion Arnold, the cornerback from Alabama. And how are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about this pick? What is it doing for you? For me, I love the pick. I mean, if you're a Brad Holmes fan, like I am a Brad Holmes fan, Brad Holmes went up and got the guy that he wanted. How could it have went better for the Detroit Lions? They obviously had a handful of guys. It's like there was a spot in this draft, and we were talking about it yesterday and the day before in the afternoon show, where there's this spot where I think that there's a gap. You know, you got your first tier guys, and when I'm talking, and I'm not saying that these other guys can't be good, but what I'm saying is that these other guys are in a second tier. There's a certain tier of guys that are like top of the line. You know, I don't know how many of the guys that Brad Holmes had in there that he had in that category, but I know that Terrion Arnold was one of them. So I don't know if you can see that. Am I getting that in there? Are you being able to see that? Oh, gosh. All right. So, you know, Terrion Arnold is a 6-foot cornerback. A lot of them had him as the best cornerback in the draft. And you can think whatever you want. I mean, I understand there were some people out there that wanted some different, like a different cornerback. You know, there's the Quinyon Mitchell camp. But when you're looking at this pick right here, they say they got their number one corner. I don't think that they were waiting for Quinyon Mitchell, because when you look at what Quinyon Mitchell brings to the table, it's not that he might be the best cornerback in the class to some people, but you know, against man, the type of player that we want, Terrion Arnold was the best man coverage corner in the draft. And when you're talking about the physical attributes, a top tier athlete for the position, he's got recovery speed and long speed that allow him to keep up with NFL receivers. It's a guy that, a lot like Brian Branch, he didn't run a good 40. Who cares? Brian Branch, when he returned that interception last year against Patrick Mahomes, was running over 20 miles an hour. Oh, but he ran a 4.5 40. I don't care. I don't care about the 40 times. The 40 times don't mean nothing. So here's Terrion Arnold. He's got elite stop and start ability, baseline understanding and man match principles, and he's not afraid to stick his nose in there when it comes to the run defense. So he's been consistent through his entire career, both years. In 2022, there's only a passer rating of 80. In 2023, the passer rating was 50. He had 471 coverage snaps. 840 total snaps. And, I mean, this is a bona fide number one corner. Now your cornerback room looks completely different, doesn't it? You know, where I don't know how you feel, you know, about the cornerback room going into it. I like Carlton Davis and I like Amik Robertson. Those are two very, very solid cornerbacks. And I said they went into this draft, you know, not having any glaring needs. And I didn't even see cornerback in that way. But when you're drafting for best player available, this is what you get, right? You're going to add Terrion Arnold to a room full of decent corners, Emmanuel Mosley. And then now you're pushing these guys down the depth charts. I don't know where he's going to fit in there. Is he going to be the number one corner? He'll be the number two corner. It don't matter. You need good corners. You need 3 good corners at all times. And now they got that. Now you got a good cornerback room. Now that's not going to stop you from going out and getting a Stephon Gilmore when the draft is over. But you were able to go up, costing you only a 3rd round pick in the 1st round, and get arguably the best at its position. And that's what you want. You know, you just paid out some dollars, okay? You just paid out some dollars to the sun god, shelling out 4-year, $120 million deals. And you just shelled out some money to Penei Sewell, making them 2 of the highest paid players in the NFL. And that's okay. Because you know what? The Brad Holmes plan is working to perfection. You got 22 out of 23 of the guys that you drafted that are still on the team. You got 5 Pro Bowlers in the last 3 years, which is 3 more than anybody else. Couple All-Pros. So what do you want to do? What's the best plan of action? Is you continue to save money with rookie contracts and you don't overpay players. And you pay your own and you give them the good contracts. You don't go and you overpay these guys from the outside. The giant outside the walls of Allen Park guys that you want to bring in. You don't want to give those guys the huge deals. That's why they take chances on free agency like guys in DJ Reader. You know, yeah, he's got the injury, but if this guy isn't injured, you're talking about a plus player. And who do the first gigantic contracts go to? 2 of your first draft picks. 2 guys that you drafted from 2021 that are homegrown, that are cornerstones of your franchise. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell. This is the nastiest tackle in the NFL, and he's only 23 years old, and we got him locked up. And this isn't even, it's 4 years on the end. We actually have him for 6 more years. Very affordable for the first 2 years on both of these contracts, by the way. We already went there. And what does that tell Terrion Arnold, who just got drafted, that if he comes in here and he balls out and he gets that contract where, you know, they took that high chance on him, he has a chance to earn himself a spot here in Detroit. Because that is showing everybody that you pay your own. That when you draft and develop a player, if you come here and you work hard, you'll get rewarded for that hard work when you come to Detroit. That's what that says. And that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And you got a great cover corner, that can play man, that can play press coverage, that you can just plug in there. That is your starting cornerback right there. And if he went up to get him, I think that this is one of the top 10 overall players in the draft, period. That's the way that they valued it. That's the way that Brad Holmes saw this cornerback. And the value dropped. It's not like these other players were good, like better or anything like that. It's just they went crazy, off of the first round and drafted all offensive players. I was way off on my my big surprise. It was zero big surprise when it came to the Chicago Bears. There was no surprise. There was zero surprise when it came to the Chicago Bears. It was Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. And that's the one that's been like the most popular mocking. Like, you wanted to stamp it and just put it over there? Yeah, that's what they did. You got Caleb Williams and you got Rome Odunze. There you go. Chicago's better. Look out for Chicago. Look out for Chicago. They already got a pretty good young roster. Let's see what we got in the comments here. Brent says, well, Russell, we got our guy. Terrion sounds like a great kid. Donkey Kong says, our cornerback room, excluding Mosley, because he's unknown until activated. The room is looking really solid, light years better than last year. When it comes with Mosley, I mean, yeah, you could say you haven't seen him, but there's nothing that is stopping him from starting the season. It was the same injuries last time. They rehab in the same way. And, the progression says that he's going to be ready by the season start or close to the beginning of the season. And you know what? When it comes to it, you're not depending on Mosley. And now you're definitely not depending on Mosley. If Mosley comes in, you got another solid dude coming in off the bench. There's no losing in that situation. Chad says, I think that we may trade up depending on how Jackson Power Johnson stays on the board. That's a very good possibility. Because do we really need guys? We don't need guys. We need the guys that they want to build around. So I don't mind at all if Brad Holmes wants to trade up. I don't even care if he uses future capital to do it. Because, as well as he's drafting here, I mean, they're not going to be able to pay all these guys. So, you're going to need some kind of, but you want to be able to pay as many of them as you can. And the only way you're going to be able to pay as many of them as you can is if you don't have as many of these draft picks hitting. And, if you use a little bit of future capital, that means that you're not going to be paying out on the end of these contracts. So maybe 4 years down the road, you could have a year where you're not you have as many contracts coming up. But you never know. Brad hits in every round, every year. I mean, this guy can't miss. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Holmes is doing Holmes things. But I like that call. Chad was down there with the 275,000 people. Looks like Detroit did a pretty good job, hosting the draft, as crazy as it was. Rashni says, what up, fellas? NFC North. My send 3 teams to the playoffs, and Green Bay is now one of them. Oh, my gosh. What are you looking at here? So let's really look at this. I mean, you got Chicago, and I'm not even going to rip on any of the quarterbacks. I don't know about the quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is regarded as a generational prospect. And I know that haters would just want to be like, well, you know, Chicago doesn't want to draft or to develop. And it don't matter. Stop with all that. Be for real that Chicago has done some things. I mean, I really, like, as an unbiased, because I love my Lions, but sometimes I can pay some respect here to Ryan Poles and what he's done there. You know, starting from going right over there to Carolina last year and just yanking the pants down of the GM and go ahead and taking everything out of their cookie cupboard and taking their draft picks, taking their souls, and then, you know, you're able to get cornerstone pieces. At first, I didn't know what he was doing because you're spending money on linebackers and this, but now you can see the brilliance of how he's taken the levels of the defense and spent money on it, right? You're not spending all your money on linebackers. You got Sweat. You spend some money on that level. That's your front line, and then you got your linebackers, and then you just spent money on Jalen Johnson on your cornerbacks room. And you just drafted Brisker, so he would be next on that fourth level. But they're paying every level. It's being built smart. And then you go over there to poor Chargers, the LA Chargers over there. So for everybody, the cap isn't real. For all you guys, Chargers are on line one, wondering why they got to release guys like Mike Williams and then, you know, let the Bears come over there and grab Keenan Allen for a 5th-round pick. Yeah, the cap isn't real. That's what you call cap hell. Welcome to it. And kudos to Ryan Poles. Damn you. Damn you, Ryan Poles, for being good and doing the smart thing and taking advantage of them and kicking them while they were down, making sure you're punching down. Yeah. So now you draft Caleb Williams, and then you bring in another playmaking wide receiver in Rome Odunze. Now, even though it was the most predictable move that was out there, what else are you going to do? So now you're bringing Rome Odunze in. So you're putting Caleb Williams, what they're calling a generational talent. You're bringing Caleb Williams into probably the best situation any number one pick has ever been dropped into. Like, if you're expecting a guy to start day one, for one, you have the most pro-ready type of quarterback. They're calling him a generational talent. And two, you usually don't have the first pick when you have, talent built around a roster. But, you know, they're using those idiot from Carolina's pick because they sucked really bad last year. So kudos to you, Rajneesh. This is a good day for you. You should celebrate. And we don't have to be enemies until the season starts. But may the best man win. We got better, too. We built a brick wall. And, you know, our defense definitely got a lot better. And our offense is as good as anybody in the NFL. So good luck. Arnold has 135 red zone snaps at Bama and only 2 touchdowns allowed. Yeah, I mean, that's why he was rated as high as he was. Terrion Arnold. I mean, what can you expect? I mean, usually that's another good move by Brad Holmes by just, you know, laying low, just being cool. Brad Holmes sitting in the war room this year, a little bit different of a feel. You know, you don't have 2 first-round picks this year. Last year they made the splash, come in there and they trade down and get Sam Laporta in return and grab Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell. I mean, what a pull. And then get Brian Branch. Last year was real excited. This year, he had to wait a little bit. So he was sitting in the back of the war room like Denzel Washington with the coolness, just waiting patiently. And every time they would draft another person that was an offensive person. Main event Mike and I were just sitting there. It was almost like cheering every time they took an offensive person, because you knew we needed defense, and we knew that the further that defense could slide, that we were in that position. It was just he was cooking it up. Let Holmes cook. And that's what he did, man. He went up and got his guy. We don't need 8 holes to fill. We needed an impact player in the secondary, and he got it. I mean, the roster's set, man. I don't know where we're going to put these guys. That's why I do believe the next pick is going to be an offensive lineman. An offensive lineman that can serve as depth and possible starterness. And we'll have to see. But we got to let Holmes cook. What did you think of the picks right here? Let's go through some of these right here. Joseph in Green Bay is not one of them. All right. We have so much cap space. What are you drinking? Oh, I don't know what we're talking about here. Brent says, we have not had good luck with our corners with injuries and Cam Sutton's actions. Hopefully we are all set at secondary. So here's the thing, Brent. Like, I don't know if it's like we've had bad luck with the secondary. What happened with Mosley sucks, but we haven't really had a lot of attention on the secondary. When they've been building this team, they definitely started on the offensive side of the ball, and they built it. They built the depth on the offensive side of the ball. So this is, they've been putting more attention into getting younger on defense, but they've been plugging the holes for the most part with like 1-year free agent guys. So this is the first high pick that we've used on the secondary, or with that. So I don't know if it's bad luck. I'm just happy that they're able to address it now. So thank you for that comment. We have a lot of cap space. Russell says, don't let it go over your head just talking smack. Hey, I know Rajneesh is in here. I'm hoping that Sarah comes in here. The Minnesota Vikings grabbing J.J. McCarthy and getting their quarterback, and then getting Jared Verse. So that's a team that got better right there. I usually give Kwesi, a hard time, but he's got the guy. He got the guys that he wanted. He's got playmakers on offense. So I know that Justin Jefferson's happy, and that he can grow with a guy. They got something on a rookie contract. So look out for the Vikings. I still think they're going to be at the bottom of the division. They did get better. I like that pick, but like the other teams are better. Brent says, Rajneesh, the Bears are set up for this year. They knew what they were doing. They played the long game. Joseph, QB's tough to figure. No one has an idea. It's crazy. Tina says that, Russell, do you know when they're going to come out with a new schedule? I do not. I do not know that yet. I'm going to get my roster down first, and then I'm going to dive into who we're going to get. Next pick, BPA. Yeah, that's what we're doing, man. Best player available. And it's cool about trading up is that obviously it is best player available because you're trading up and you're getting the guy that you want. So that's when it becomes easier. Even though you got to give up the capital, makes it for you got a guy that fits right in our defense. Chad said Sarah got her guy. JJ fell right into her hands. Yeah, they didn't even have to use that other pick. And then they ended up getting a impact defensive player with that second first-round pick. So they played the draft well, too. They let it fall right to them. Brent said the Vikings must love their QB come out of Michigan and State. Yeah. So what's your general consensus on these quarterbacks, right? To me, I think the jury's still out on Jordan Love. I've watched him do some amazing things, and jump out to leads and put up points on people. But I've also seen him do some questionable stuff when the game's on the line. So I'm looking to see what happens with Jordan Love. And then you have 2 rookie quarterbacks. So, like, instead of me ripping these quarterbacks to shreds or trying to find holes in the system, let's just be real right here. There's a better chance when you're looking at all these first-round quarterbacks. What is it, like 6 of them? Unbelievable. 6 quarterbacks in the first round. Thank God right there that Atlanta's smoking something. And they're going to go and take Michael Penix Jr. in the first round. They should have taken a cornerback. And then you're looking at Bo Nix. I mean, I don't mind that one as much because at least, they're drafting a quarter. I mean, but you just spent all this money on Kirk Cousins. What the hell are you doing? So, due to some other people's stupidity, and, just the plethora of offensive talent is the only reason that this defensive talent, the cornerbacks, fell in the draft. It has nothing to do with anything talent-wise. I mean, these guys fell because the other teams that were picking. I mean, if you go through here, you're not seeing anything totally crazy. Let me bring this in here so you guys could see that. I won't go on that one. Let's do this one. That one change. Did it? All right. So I'm going to get my mock draft here. So this is going to show you when you're looking on the left-hand side there, this is the picks that they had. I mean, we're not having anything too crazy that's happening. Caleb Williams goes number 1, no surprise. Jaden Daniels, number 2, no surprise. Drake May going number 3. That wasn't a surprise. I thought they might trade out of that pick for the New England Patriots, but they end up taking Drake May. That's such a New England kind of guy right there. No, but not really a big surprise. Marvin Harrison Jr., first wide receiver off the board. No big surprise. Joe Alt, this was a little bit surprising to me. I thought they would go wide receiver since they just got rid of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And but you know what? You can't blame anybody for going and getting a tackle. It's not the sexiest pick in the world, but what are you going to do? Then you got Malik Neighbors going to the Giants. The G-Men. I thought they might go quarterback. I thought they were going to go J.J. McCarthy. I don't know about you guys. J.C. Latham. A lot of people wouldn't have had him as the first or second tackle off the board, but whatever. Some of these guys are interchangeable, right? And then the knuckleheads that they are, the Atlanta Falcons, come up and get Michael Penix? Come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So then Mike and I are sitting there looking at each other like, man, there's 0 defensive players gone right here. So I just picture Brad Holmes over there, licking his chops, going, sitting back there in the war room like Denzel, all cool and calm and collective, and just waiting. So Roma Dunze goes at number 9 to the Chicago Bears. No big surprise there, Get another playmaker. I mean, most people had that. There's no surprise. Maybe it was a little surprise at pick 10 for, I don't know why they felt that they needed to jump up one spot to get McCarthy. I don't know if they thought somebody else was going to try to trade up with the Jets. Maybe Jets held them hostage with somebody else that wanted. But they didn't get very much to swap. I think it was like a fifth round fifth round swap or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. So correct me if I'm wrong. Throw that in the comments if you know. But they pop up. They get JJ McCarthy. They get JJ McCarthy. Now, I know a lot of people had said some things about JJ McCarthy. I don't know if he's ready, like he doesn't have the experience or whatever they want to say, but here's the thing. I'm gonna give these guys kudos, and then I'm gonna blast you guys with some reality with it. But let's just look at JJ McCarthy's stats right here. I mean, the guy had 116 passer rating, 105 and 102. Now, if you're not asking him to make the passes here, then you can't fault the guy. Here he is, 72% completion. You know, played in all the games. 9 yards per attempt. That's pretty good for a quarterback. 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, you're talking about good production. I'm not going to kill the kid for them not asking him to pass. What, you're not going to draft him high because Michigan had a dominating run game and they were able to run a ball down people's throats? Why would they? I mean, if I can win a game without passing the ball, why wouldn't you? That's like what a dominating way to win, too, with your pass game like that. We're just going to run the ball down your throat and it ain't going to be damn. You see this hole right here? I'm all run right to this hole. And there ain't shit you can do other than watch me run through this hole. And that's the type of team that Michigan had last year. So I like the pick there for them. JJ McCarthy, a lot of people had him going in the top 5. They only traded up one spot. They were patient with it. So kudos to Quessy. I usually give him a hard time. They didn't have to trade up and do it. So number 11, and them trading back, picking up an extra 5. I don't mind that too. And then they pick up tackle Fashanu. Of course, you got to try to protect Aaron Rodgers, the golden boy. And then at number 12, the Denver Broncos reach on a quarterback that they could have gotten in the second round. Instead of them taking a high-impact defensive player, they go get Bo Nix. Maybe that fifth-year option thing means something a little bit more. And there's Brock Bowers. I don't mind that pick for the Raiders. They must have felt awful, knowing they got Aiden O'Connell. And they're thinking, man, certainly a quarterback's going to fall to me. At 13, there's like 6 of them. Even if we have to reach on Bo Nix. And then Bo Nix gets reached on. It's like, oh, shoot. Now, the best quarterback that's on the market going into the second round is, hold your breath for it. I hope Steve's in here. Spencer Rattler is the best quarterback that's available right here. So I'm going to go back in. Now that I'm halfway through the first round, just kind of going through this, I'm going to go into the comments right here. Chad saying Sarah got her guy. Joseph says Lions got a guy with a first-round grade at number 24. Well, yeah. If you're picking in the first round, you're hoping you get one in the first-round grade, right? Brent says that JJ is going to have great wide receivers to throw to. You're getting put into a situation. That's a good situation. That's a good situation to be in. I think the Chicago situation's even better, though. I mean, you got DJ Moore and Justin Jefferson. Those are both 2 awesome number 1 wide receivers. Keenan Allen's as good as anybody in the league right now. So if I'm comparing that to Addison, who's been playing for 5 minutes, I would give the Bears the edge on that. And then they just drafted, a first-round wide receiver at number 9, too, with Rome Odunze. So I think Caleb's in a little bit better of a situation, but JJ is in a very good situation. Do you think we've improved our defense slightly or dramatically? Are we talking all together here or just over the course of the last 24 hours? I think that it does, improving the secondary room. I mean, think about Carlton Davis was your number one, right? And you had Amik Robertson as a number two, Brian Branch, is depth, and then you're talking about Emmanuel Mosley. You stick Terrion Arnold in that room, David, and now you're talking like a 1A, 1B with Terrion Arnold and Carlton Davis, two different styles, two very good, like lockdown type of man-to-man press dudes. So I think it does, it ends up making it a dramatic improvement because if you got two guys that can cover even, let's just say a second and a half longer, that's a second and a half longer that you're going to be able to get Aiden Hutchin to get to the quarterback. I mean, you're putting your defense in a better position to do the things and be aggressive, which I think that is what we are building is an aggressive defense. And he can improve that dramatically. DJ Reader levels all the ships up too. He demands a double team. He knows how to play defensive tackle. I mean, there's a lot of defensive tackles who play defensive tackle position, but DJ Reader actually knows how to play defensive tackle. He knows how to anchor himself against a double team and not get pushed over. And that opens up opportunities for other people. Aiden Hutchinson and whoever's on the other side. Hopefully Josh. I'm hoping it's Josh Pascal. Everybody thinks I'm so high on Davenport. Mike's high on Davenport. Thinks that he might have a breakout season this season just because he's in a better position here. But I think it's Josh Pascal. Josh Pascal was drafted in the second round. Same one as Hutchinson. So they expected big things out of him. So he could take a 30-year jump. Andrew, what's up, Andrew? I think that it might be an offensive line or defensive line for the second round pick. Wouldn't mind either one. You can't go wrong. You can't have enough big men, big nasty guys. Donkey Kong says, yeah, I mean, they got the best cornerback in the draft, in my opinion. And that's arguable, but, there were like 4 cornerbacks that were kind of in that box, and you can like one of the cornerbacks over the other cornerbacks for different reasons. But as far as a press man cornerback and a guy that plays the mirror game, Terrion Arnold was the best one for what that is. Atlanta definitely overreached for Penix. I mean, hey, well, I'll take it. Reach. Go get your guy, guys, because that just means that you're going to let talent fall to us. When you're smart on the draft, you let it come to you. You don't try to over pursue. I know that they had a threshold on cornerback where they wanted to trade up, and if all those guys weren't so stupid and they drafted the right corner and they were sitting there at 24 and their guys weren't there, they would have probably traded back. The Lions would have. But because the draft fell the way that it did, they had an opportunity to go up, and Dallas didn't charge them too much for it. Only cost a 3rd round pick. I mean, we're a couple players away from being as good as you can really be without. And I'm not saying that we're the greatest of all time or anything, but there comes a time where you're not making your team better by changing players, if you know what I mean. Because you have a certain level of player, and it's kind of like, let's put it like the Green Bay Packers, right? The Green Bay Packers release Aaron Jones, right? And then they bring in Josh Jacobs. And, the cover of that would tell you, oh my God, they brought in Josh Jacobs. They got the high priority free agent, right? Cool. But you lost Aaron Jones. What did you really gain? You can make your team different and not make it better. I mean, the thing is if you go and they get a great season, and all of a sudden Josh Jacobs is a good running back, right? And he is a good running back. I'm not saying he isn't. So he goes and he has a solid season. Well, Aaron Jones had a solid season. So what have you gained? You had a solid running back. You brought in a different solid running back, and you paid him more. So, I mean, it's all perception. But when you look at what the Lions did, they actually got the team better, right? We lost Will Harris and Jerry Jacobs and who's that? And Cam Sutton, and replaced him with Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, and Amik Robertson. That's like a 20 going to 100. That is dramatic improvement, right? And then you look at DJ Reader. DJ Reader was replacing, are you ready? Benito Jones. That's not a little improvement. That's a gigantic, that is a huge jump. So it's all in the eyes, right? Atlanta definitely overreached. Let's see what else we got on here. Russell Wayne, will you do your Macho Man voice and give us the reaction? Let me think about that. Oh, geez, man, that's going to make me blush on here. My Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, God. It would be like the Macho Man, right? The Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, I was sitting here. The Macho Man was being patient. Yeah, the Macho Man was waiting. He was waiting in the weeds, brother. They were taking all the offense, but no, the Macho Man was waiting, playing defense, brother. And then we took the chance and we struck from the Macho Man elbow in the top rope, right into the middle of the chest. And 1, 2, 3, brother, dig it. Yeah, we got Terrion Arnold. All right. I don't know how good that was. Probably not so good, but. Oh, yeah. Mike the Bear fan, what's up, everyone? Is everyone happy with their draft? Yeah. You don't have to worry about being shorthanded, man. We got this. We got this. We are the fans. It's all part of the network. We're all part of the network. And it was raining cats and dogs yesterday. And I hope that you're happy with your draft too, Mike. You got Caleb Williams. You got Roma Dunze. My hot take didn't happen, but whatever. I think that's smarter what you did. You laid patient. Just like Brad Holmes did. I love what the Lions did. I really like what the Bears did. I mean, if you're living vicariously and you're feeling that's nice. That's a nice pool, man. You're going to be looking at a pretty, upper echelon type of offense right there. Roma Dunze. I really like that, Mike. And, I got to give some kudos out there to the Vikings, too. I like them getting J.J. McCarthy. They took their shot. They got their quarterback. They were also able to pick up another edge defender to put with Grenard. So they're going to be better on defense. They got Brian Flores right there. Green Bay underwhelmed. I mean, I don't know. There's rumors out there that Lions getting ahead of them. I think that they wanted Terrion Arnold because them just going in there and, taking a second round tackle. And I'm not trying to, hate on them or anything like that. It is what it is. Anybody out there that, sees these rankings or puts it in there, it's the same thing they do every year. Maybe he's the best tackle in the draft and I'm just being a hater, whatever. I don't care. If that was the Lions that did that and ended up, not taking, one of the top players that's still available, and they just went and took their offensive lineman. You got the 8th best offensive lineman. Okay. If you're happy with that, I'm happy with that. If that would have happened to the Lions, you would have said the same thing. It is what it is. And I'm just being real with it. You know, I think that the Packers they did the least good out of the 4 teams in the NFC North. And that's just being real. And I want to say it was the Vikings. The Vikings are the ones that I've had it out with the last couple weeks. I mean, and it's not that necessarily that the Vikings, did everything wrong or anything like that. They're rebuilding their team, but the other 3 teams are in a different spot of that, where you're still shuffling pieces around trying to figure things out. The other 2 teams seem to have like a direction and a plan, because even though Green Bay, I didn't think that it was an underwhelming first round. I mean, they still got a piece. You got an offensive lineman. You're going to be protecting your quarterback. So I can't hate on it. You already got a lot of good young pieces. That was a team that had a pretty good roster going into the draft. Because, Green Bay does draft and develop players pretty well. They always seem to be relevant. But too bad. The Lions are still going to take this division. The Lions are still the best team in this division. The other teams got real good. And, instead of me answering questions about Caleb Williams, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about the already top 5 offense of the Lions? Improving their offensive line. Already have the best offensive line in the league. Already have the 2 best running backs. Already have arguably a top 3 tight end. Have a first-team All-Pro wide receiver with one of the fastest guys in the NFL, Jameson Williams. Punt returner in Cleveland. I mean, the team's stacked on offense. What are you going to do about that? And don't laugh at all. We're just going to stop it. Well, it got better. That team, that offense got better. So I hope that you're happy. I hope that you're happy with your picks in the first round. I'm all getting to my second round mock draft mode right here, because I got on a little bit late, so I do owe a second. I mean, Mike says I want to be done with these. Okay, you can be done with them, but not me. I want to see. I want to see what happens here, because they even have it set up right here where we can do the second round. Right? Let me get this in here. All right. Oh shit. Don't. So it says pre-fill actual draft picks and start at pick 33. So now we can get in there. So the Lions are picking at 24. So what happened with the Buffalo Bills? Are they trying to stash picks? What are they doing here? I mean, I don't know what was going on. Xavier Leggett, and it says the Bills are on the clock. Okay, so the Bills are on the clock, and let's see what they say here. So, guys, the Lions don't have another pick right here, but let's go back and see what the computer picks right here. So they're predicting that the Buffalo Bills will take Adonai Mitchell. That could very well be. That's their number one need. Another wide receiver right there to the Patriots. Finally, Cooper DeJean goes to the Cardinals. Let's look here. Look at Newton dropping all the way to 37. Jackson Powers Johnson, 38. Kool-Aid McKinstry gets all the way down to pick 41. Wow. Keon Coleman makes it down to pick 46. Zach Frazier. Roman Wilson. Mike Sandstrom. Oh, wow. Look at these guys almost making it to the Lions. So what would you do right here? Here we are. We're at pick 61. And they could very well trade up for one of these guys, too. I could see them trading up again. But I really believe that it's an offensive lineman. Or they may even trade out. Right there. What type of shit can you get for that? Really? They would do that? They would do that? Really? You get all three of those? Brad Holmes will be a G if he pull that off. If you pull that off, look at that. Look at me being a G. I traded pick 61 and got 80, 97, and 115. Is that like a Brad Holmes move? That's like a Brad Holmes move right there. Look at Russ working the second round. You know, because you got a lot of these guys that are in the same kind of boat. You know, for about 2 rounds worth of stuff. Let's see what we still have. Do we still have, you know, interior offensive line? There's Cooper Beebe right there. Let's frickin' go. Let's go. Come on. Love that. That's one of my favorite picks. I would love for that because he's a versatile offensive lineman. He can play guard. He can play tackle. Let them move up some picks. Then we get the look at if Brad Holmes pulls this off right here. Would you go double? Would you go double? Let's just go ahead and shore up the offensive line for the next 10 years. We'll go ahead and take Christian Mahogany right here. Guard. Come on. And with the extra pick, would you take a chance getting Tavondre Sweat? What would you do right there? What would you do for a Klondike bar? That's what we need. We need another, the big men. You know, we could probably use a safety. We get some value at safety right here. That's about right there. I don't like that. I don't like that. You know, not too much. This seems, would we get a halfback? I got this extra pick. I didn't even know what to do with it. Too many of them. Let's see. It's all good. There's Sarah. Hi, Sarah. We did better than I expected, she said. What is up? Baron Mike says Poles has to get back into the second round. It's got to get back into that second round. I'm sorry, I get pulled up. I really don't even care about these drafts, so at this point, I just wanted to use it. But we'll go with a Tavondre Sweat right there. Come on, get going. And yeah, Sarah, I got to give kudos where kudos is done. You got it done. You got yourself a quarterback. You got yourself a quarterback. And I love the fact, and I think that you had your bases covered. If I had to give my honest opinion on what Quezzy was thinking about trading up and getting another first-round pick, I mean, there's a possibility you might want to trade up to get J.J. McCarthy. So you had the capital to pull it off. But when the board started falling the way that it did, and, you know, Atlanta ends up being idiots, then you didn't have to. And you were able to pick up a badass. Sarah said that saw the interview with Jim Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh was like so happy with McCarthy. McCarthy had his heart set on going to Minnesota, and he got his wish. And, you know, O'Connell's a good coach. He's a good offensive mind. Seems like he's kind of a quarterback whisperer. In any situation. And now that you got a rookie quarterback, and you don't got to pay, you know, that big, huge salary out, now you can justify signing the big deal that might be $33 million a year to Justin Jefferson. So I'm happy that you're happy, Sarah. Steve says 10 more picks, baby. Man, you guys got that many picks? Hey, your boy's still available. Spencer Rattler. He's the best quarterback that's on the board. Yep. And yeah, that's what I was doing right here. Oh, there you go. At 164, I'll take your boy. I'm taking your boy. Chad just had a coronary. I got Cam Hart, Chad. I got Cam Hart. Pulling some magic. We're pulling some magic. We're gonna build. Oh, Tom Hampton. Let's see what we got here. Any badass? Oh, Elijah Jones. We're gonna make this team better. I'm going through. I don't know a lot about these late round guys, so I'm going more off of, you know, what do we need? Like, you know, there we go. There's a safety, developmental safety. You know, with all these draft picks, I'm so dumb. Even make the team. You know, that's the problem with it. That's why I think that the Lions package up some more stuff. There you go. Let's get that. May package some stuff up and go and grab a guy. You know, they could do that. Let's see what we thought. What do you think? What do you think of this? Is that badass? So here the Lions in the Russell Wayne version of what Brad Holmes would do. I liked everything. Look at that. Look at that. I trade pick 61 for pick 80, 97, and 115. Brad Holmes, I think, would do that. And then we end up shoring up the middle of our offensive line with Cooper Beebe and Christian Mahogany. And the great depth. You don't even need them to start. They can learn. And these guys are good enough to compete for starting jobs. So, and they'll Zeitler. I like that. Tavondre Sweat, another guy. No pressure. No pressure to get him right in there. Cam Hart, long corner. Elijah Jones, another good corner. I was listening to a Chris Sims podcast where he was breaking down Elijah Jones. I don't know anything about the last guys, I'm not going to lie. But I like my draft. I'm glad that you guys popped on today. And let me know what you guys think of your what your team did. You know, I think, Steve, I mean, you got more picks left, but underwhelming a little bit. I mean, there were some pretty high-end players that were left, and you went with a second-round tackle. So I would say that Green Bay, at first glance, I ain't worried about the Packers. I think the Packers need to worry about the Bears. I think the Bears are coming for your asses. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with that. The Bears, bad taste in their mouth. They have not. I mean, that's got to be like 10,000 days or something like that. Something ridiculous. The Bears are coming for blood right there. Can they finally overcome the Packers? I think they will. I think this is the year the Bears are building it the right way. That defense is pretty good at the end of last year, and they're putting it together. And I think the Packers are going to get all they have. And you still ain't going to beat the Lions, though. You're still not going to beat the Lions. But here's what I'll say. I'm not going to rip on Caleb, and I'm going to leave you with this thought. J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. Here's a spoiler alert. There's a better chance that that all 5 of those quarterbacks are busts than there are that 2 of them are good. When you look back through the history of these guys, there's a lot of first-round picks that are used on quarterbacks. Let's be honest. There are a lot of first-round picks used on quarterbacks. So there you go. Out of those 6 quarterbacks, I would say there's a good chance that one of them is going to be very successful. And I can let's throw Jordan Love into that, because there's a possibility of a sophomore slump in that. But which one of those quarterbacks are going to be the real deal? Out of those 3 quarterbacks, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, only one of them will probably be good. That's the batting average. One of them going to be good. See, I don't have to answer that question with Jared Goff, because Jared Goff's already proven that he can be good. He's been in the league for a long time. You know what you got there, but you don't know what you got on the other side. You may think that you know what you got in Jordan Love, but you got 1 year so far. And you changed a lot of pieces through that. So I'm going to include him in that young quarterback mold. He's going in his 2nd year. You got Caleb Williams. You got J.J. McCarthy. Out of those 3 quarterbacks, if you had to pick that one of them's going to be good and take it over, because here's the thing. They're all in the same division. They're going to play each other twice. So, what's it going to be? Who do you believe in out of those quarterbacks? See, I'm through. Because it's been so long. I've been on these programs, and we've been answering questions as Lions fans. We've been answering questions. We're not answering questions. We've earned the right not to answer questions in the NFC North. You guys have to answer the questions. We know what Jared Goff is. We know what the Lions know what their running game is. It's badass. We know what our offensive line is. It's badass. We know that we just made our defense better. We know that we improved the defense. You need to answer questions. So out of those 3 quarterbacks, and Lion fan, yeah, you can answer this question too. But out of those 3 quarterbacks, those young quarterbacks, Jordan Love, you only get to pick one. One of them's going to be successful. The other 2, well, they're going to fall short. They're going to fall short. Because right now, like, you got to prove to me, I mean, they're not going to stop Jared Goff. That offense is already built and proven. You answer the question. Because the chances of them all being good is low. You don't just get to be good just because you say they're good. They got to come in and prove it. And most rookie quarterbacks fail. It is what it is. It's a hard position. That's why there's only 32 jobs in the world. So, who's got the best chance for success? JJ McCarthy? Boy Wonder? Caleb Williams? Is he the chosen one? Or is it Jordan Love going into his second year under the Matt LaFleur thing? What's it going to be? Let's see if we got anything in there, because I may go. Let's see. I'm excited for Gibbs in year 2. I think JJ's going to start right away. Oh, Sarah, do you think that's a good question, Chad? And that one you could throw out to everybody too. Do you think that JJ is going to start right away, or do you think they'll put in Arnold? It's a good question. Steve says we got a great O lineman already and 10 more picks. It's going to be fun. I'm glad that you're happy with it. I'd just be underwhelmed with it. You know, and I would say at 3rd round we trade back a little, but not far. But we trade back, get some extra picks, like in the 4th round. I mean, why do you want all them picks, man? I mean, eventually you got to turn them into players. And then you got to develop them. Steve says 477 snaps and only 2 snaps for Morgan. Yeah, 2 sacks. Bears have a bad O-line. I don't know if that's true. They've invested a little bit into that. That's what happens when you got like a Vegas bankroll. And that's what the Bears have had the last few years. Got to throw a little bit of that paper around. Chad said sophomore, not more. Hey, it's possible. Gun Guy says next year will tell. Big Dan Davis says, what's up, Ross? What do you want Brad to do at 61? What I want Brad to do at 61 is be the man that he is. Like, I just picture him sitting in the war room in the back, like, being cool, cooking up the stew. He's looking like Denzel Washington back there. He's walking around in slow motion with shit blowing up around him. That's what I think of. He's just sitting there being patient. And then he's going to pick a guy at 61. I just did a mock draft right there where I got the 61. He may trade back there, try to get that 3rd round pick back. Or or try to turn it into a couple 4s. You know what I'm saying? You take that 2nd round pick and turn it into a 3 and a 4. And that's what I did right there. Kansas City traded up with me. Was that Kansas City? I can't remember who traded up with me in that. but trade up and get a 3 or trade back and get a 3 and a 4. I could see him doing that. Zachary Davis says the Packers are going to be at the bottom of the division now. Uh-oh. Zachary Davis says Lions 1, Vikings 2, Bears 3. Wow. That's interesting. That's interesting. Big Dan Davis. I love the Terrion Arnold pick. Trade up and get him, best key cornerback in this draft. In your opinion, okay. Hate Williams, but he is talented. Definitely JJ. JJ's going to be the one that's good, huh? Jefferson was already the receiver that could catch anything thrown his way. And now he has an accurate quarterback. Yeah, JJ's got a little bit to prove to me, but I mean, I've seen him. I've seen him in big moments, and he does play clutch. Hey, now, the knock on him is he doesn't have a lot of those moments, right? But the thing is, it doesn't really matter because you isolate those moments. I was talking with Michael about this morning. It's like so many people get locked up. So many people get locked up in this idea of the stats and you know, sometimes in the course of a game, you know, you got this ebb and flow thing happening and during that course there's some amazing shit that can happen, right? And you watch, you know, good players and great players do great things, but the elite players, there's like this, you break the game down, right? Now we're breaking it down to where you're going to do this little tug of war thing, but now we're in most games in the NFL, we're going to get to this point, usually in the fourth quarter somewhere, where there's a play that happens, and it's going to, you know, drastically move the momentum in one way or another, closing out a game or stopping the game from being closed out or whatever could happen right there. And the players that play the biggest in those type of moments are what I would call the elite players. But you can't measure all of the other stuff along with these plays. I'm talking 4th and 2. You know, 4th and 1. Game's on the line. We're going for 2. That play when the momentum is at its peak, who plays good in that moment? And that's where I actually believe. When I started believing in Jared Goff was actually 2021, and it was in Minnesota. At the end of the game, he was as cold as ice. Made the throw. One on the road, and that's just hard to do in an environment. But just to be cold, poised in that moment, at that point, I started defending him like on a regular basis, because it's like sometimes you can have bad games, you know, bad stretches or whatever. But when it comes down to it, I want a guy that plays like that in an ice cold moment, like even when I look at the NFC Championship, I'm not making excuses here. You know, they made more plays. You know, some might call it luck, some might say SOL or whatever you want to say. But balls bouncing off of masks. But here's the thing. Jared Goff on crucial plays on 4th down, drop back under the best pressure in the world that you can get, under the cool as a cucumber, delivered 2 catchable passes. I can't knock it, you know. That's what you want. It's like I believe in him more on those misses because you can look at it and see it, right? You roll out, you escape one guy, you make a throw, you put it on somebody's hands, and I'm not going to blame nobody. But it's a team sport, and all the guys do what they're supposed to do. And in the NFC Championship, Jared Goff did everything that he needed to do to win. He played well enough to win. He did. But it's a team sport, so you have to factor all of that in, and there's no blaming in that. They lost the game. But that's the key part of that, is they lost the game. They didn't get beat. They lost the game. It was in their control, and they didn't control it. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for people that play good in those moments. So Brad Holmes is a clutch player, because I think this is a stressful environment when it's this, and I think his style is the work's done. The work's already done. Like there's no stress when it comes with this type of stuff. It's like you got hope that certain guys are going to fall to you and stuff like that, but you got these certain lists of guys, certain tiers of guys, and when it becomes your turn, you just take the next guy that's on the list. You've already made the list. You've done all the work already. The work's done. Hit that like button if you like what you're hearing. I'm breaking down this draft. Feeling good about this draft. I think all the players that were selected by the NFC North teams were good. Everybody got better at that position. I'm just busting Steve's balls. I just think the other teams did better. I think Terrion Arnold is going to be very impactful for the Detroit Lions. Obviously, Caleb Williams and arguably the best wide receiver in the draft is going to make an impact. And you look at the Minnesota Vikings, getting J.J. McCarthy. And then really, I think the best part about that is I think they were prepared to move up into the top 5 to get a quarterback. That's what Kwesi was doing with that second first-round pick. And I think it just worked out for them that they didn't have to. They were able to, only have to move up one spot to get J.J. McCarthy, which left that, that second first-round pick alone. And then they were able to pick up Jared Verse. Was it Jared Verse? Oh, I don't want to misspeak. I apologize if I did. I'm going to make sure here. Yes. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. What did you do? What did you know? Dallas Turner. Oh, yeah. You guys got arguably the best pass rusher, because I know that Latu went first as far as the defenders go. And then, Dallas Turner. And, you lost Danielle Hunter. But now I can say, and we had this argument before because it was like Grenard and Danielle Hunter. I mean, I would argue that's a wash. And actually, that's probably an insult to Danielle Hunter, who had like 16 sacks last year, and Grenard. But let's just say that's a wash. You didn't lose anything right there. You added, another player. You added another dog to that room. That's it. We're having a different conversation now with Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner on there. Now that room is significantly better. So, congratulations on that. I like that pick up for you. Your team is significantly better. The Chicago Bears are significantly better. The Detroit Lions are significantly better with their pick. The Green Bay Packers, they got a good player. And I'm not taking anything away from that, but I'm putting you in fourth place for what happened in that first round. The three teams got significantly better, and the Green Bay Packers got a little bit better. Honestly, I would have looked through there, and I think they could have done a little bit better with that. But you know what? I'm not gonna argue with that. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna invite some of my Green Bay Packer friends that have their own pages, like Bill the Packer fan and Mike the Bear fan, on here next week, and we're gonna talk about these draft picks. We'll talk about our team and good and how these draft picks are going to look on that team. Because the thing is like people get too caught up in the rankings and whatever, and now these guys are actually gonna put, blood, sweat, and tears and try to make a football team. At the end of the day. So, well, thank you everybody for popping on here with me today. We're going to be back on here for day 2. And it says 7:30, but I'm wrong on that. That's a misprint. I'm going to be on at 6:30 because Brad Holmes is going to be doing some cooking. Maybe I shouldn't go on until 7:30, but who knows what's going to happen. But thank you for joining me, Football Talk Daily. I'm your host, Russell Wayne. It's about faith, family, and football. My brothers and sisters. Faith coming first right here. I am so proud of my church at NTC. And if you're using the link that's in our description for the giving link, what we are doing is an outreach to Genesee County. And I am proud of my church for what they are doing in Genesee County. So if you're using that link, thank you. That's what you are helping us with because it's faith, family, and football. In that order. Family and football, you guys are my family. You guys are my family. I love coming on here and talking football in a week. Every day. Even when there's nothing to talk about. Love coming on here. We can talk about whatever you want. I love that. You guys are my family and football. Use it. Use football. Use football to spend time with the people that you care about. Don't let football use you. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. And may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again tonight for the second round. God bless.